I wanted to tell you, like, before we start about this session, we should understand who are those difficult employees. So first thing, let us understand who are all those difficult employees. So first thing is like indiscipline detected during electronic monitoring. So there are a few employees who used to thief in front of the CCTV camera, and some electronic usage of the official emails, and then the alcoholic related misconduct, and then office affairs, absence or poor attendance, poor performance, insubordination, that is misbehaving with the subordinates, and the workplace bullying. So now we're going to see in detail about each and every topic. So first, let us start with indiscipline detected during electronic monitoring. So what do you mean by this? The first thing is as the necessity of the CCTV camera. So you need to, as an organization head, you should understand that. So for example, if I add the CCTV footage at the CCTV camera at the dining hall or in front of washroom, that is something which affects the dignity of the employee. So we should always make sure we should understand the dignity, and anything to be taken in consideration of the organization should be taken in mind the dignity of the employees. That should not affect the dignity of the employee in any ways. So yeah, this has to be taken care. The other thing is communication of the CCTV camera should be informed to the employee. So for example, if you have a camera in this locker room or something of your organization, it should be written, a poster should be there, okay, you are under CCTV, like that. So that has to be communicated via email, or maybe you can mention in your internet portal wherever you have the CCTV camera attached. And then the disruption of work due to the habitual electronic loafing. That is like, so for example, if I can say, like, I have completed my work, I have a shift timing of 9.5 hours, but I have completed my work within 8.5 hours. I have an extra 1 hour in my hand. In that particular time, I can do some casual browsing, maybe some sort of learning, or whatever it may be. But in the same scenario, if there is if there is some employee who just spend in his entire time on playing video games, which is affecting the production. So here you have to take care. If something is affecting the production, then it, as an HR manager, it's your responsibility to understand and to make sure this should not happen, and people should not misuse all the should not misuse something like this which will affecting their production. But otherwise, if it is not affecting the production, you no need to intervene into that. If just in 1 hour employee has completed his work and then he's browsing, then that's totally fine. You should be that, the organization should be flexible on that. And then the manual, like, for example, I'll tell, the other thing is like using a personal personal information, organization information for your personal things. So like, for example, I can take it like, there's a manager who have, generally in all the most of the organization at the managerial level, they'll be given some leverages to use the emails on their phone itself. So now, I can tell you an instance which just recently happened in one of the organization. So it's like a manager has been appointed, has been hired, and he did not get an access. Generally, to get an access, it should take it will take him some time. So meanwhile, what he did is like, he's sent an email. There was some email and he has marked to his personal email ID. He CC'd that to his personal email IDs so that he can get the access in his phone, and he no need to come. There's some leave he wanted to take it in future and he don't have access from his phone, and that's the reason he has CC'd his personal email ID to the content, the official content, and so that he can receive the updates on his personal email ID and he can respond on that. So this is something unethical. In this scenario, every organization should make sure they have a proper IT team who can monitor all such things. So there must be some IDD check should be there. The information security training should be provided to the employees. That employees should not mark the personal email IDs in CC, or the employees should not send any emails from their official email ID to the personal email ID. So there, for example, if you take it to the investment investment banking sectors. So there's lots of restrictions. So while sending an email, there's an IDD check proper. But when you see on some organization like travel agency, so they need to make sure they need to send, they need to connect with the different, different normal people through their personal email ID. So they can send an email to the personal email ID. There, the check should be something official, should not be sent to the personal email. That is what you need to check. So that is depend on the various sectors of the organizations. Okay, so now we'll go to the next, or if you have any doubts in between, so please note it down, and you can write it in a chat box as well. So after, once the session has been done, we can take some last 15 minutes question answers round, where I can clear all your, where we can discuss on the points if there's something has been left unclear. Okay. Okay, so now moving on to the next topic, alcohol related misconduct. So finding out an employee's, like, this has to be find out with an employee's behavior. So for example, as a human resource manager, our boundaries and our extent of restriction is only to the work and the contribution till the workplace, not outside that. So for example, if somebody has been drunk, or somebody's been drug addict, but it's not under the workplace but outside of the workplace, then you don't need to intervene into that, because that's none of your business right now. But yes, if something has been affecting the production, if there's something has been affecting the production of the peer members of the particular people, then that is the HR responsibility over here. So now you have to make sure you understand if that is really affecting the production or if it is not affecting the production. And also the legitimacy of the drug use is very important. So I can tell you there's something called khaskhas, which is a very commonly used Indian dishes. And if the employee consume the significant amount of that, then there will be something positive on one of the drug tests called Optimus. So that is not that is not something wrong. So that is a normal soft drink. But yes, if it has been tested, people may uh, confirmed as a positive, but that is anywhere related to his health or his mind. But yes, there you need to take care ki legitimacy should be important, so that it should be determined before taking any disciplinary action. I can also tell you an example. Like recently I met a case in my organization where an employee visited, we got a complaint from manager that his subordinate has consumed, he is smelling of the alcohol. We went. So first thing is, you always need to make sure that you meet the person personally, and then you understand like what is going on and what to understand, to make sure you give him a space to defend. So when we happen to talk to him, I understand he has consumed the alcohol, but day before, not he has intentionally come to the office within an alcoholic condition. So here what you need to take care is, see, you cannot obviously if you got an complaint from his manager that he is smelling bad and he feels that he has consumed alcohol and he feels that it may give an unhygienic workplace to the other peer members, so of course you need to take care. But you no need to hire him just because you got a complaint from the manager. So yeah, in this case what you can do is, you can give him a half day off, so that he can go home, he can come back fresh, and then he can work efficiently, because it's not his mistake, it's just that he's smelling bad because of the particular alcohol. So yeah, that has to be taken care in the consideration. Just because we got a complaint from any of the stakeholders, we cannot terminate or we cannot fire an employee. Okay, so now is progressive disciplinary techniques. As an HR professional, we should always support the employees instead of pointing out like we just like that can't terminate the employees. As I said earlier, like significant amount of time has invested. We have hired him, we have trained him, and we have invested time and invested money till the time. And now if suddenly we can fire him, you don't ever know if you hire a new person how long he gonna take and how long he gonna grabs the current process. So instead of hiring a new one and firing this victim, I could say, you can actually give him a counsel. And post counsel, if you feel you can give him, like for example, if something is the next he has really consumed an alcohol and has to come to office, you can understand what emotionally he is going through and why he has consumed. You can counsel him, you can provide him training, you can also give him a off for 1 week or something and then ask him to come back and join us, instead of spending again the number of hours for hiring new employee, training them and all that. And the main important thing is maintenance of confidentiality. Like details should not be disclosed to the person's peers, like whether it's about the test results or whether it's about you gonna fire him or you gonna how you have warned him or you have given a warning to him. This should not be informed or this should not be discussed with anybody except that particular person and his own manager. So like confidentiality should be maintained. As an HR manager, this is the most important thing you should know. So yeah, moving to the most sensitive topic, handling office affairs. So first thing in this, I would say is clarity of policy should be there. So like regarding the office romance, allowed or not, if allowed, till what extent it should be allowed, then it should not be like misused by the subordinates. Hence, it should be clearly communicated to the employees and the subordinate. So you can have this communicated as in front of poster or something, or you can have this communicated in an email on a monthly basis, like like on some policies on, I mean regarding a policies of this particular organization, you can mention and highlight such topics, or else you can put it in your organization's intranet. And then impact of office romance on the official work. It's like, for example, if two persons are involved in an affair, it's okay, like if it is affecting the protection, it's okay to intervene. But if it is not affecting the protection, then it's not necessary as an HR manager to intervene into it. So I'll tell you an example here. So there was a case I handled some time back. There was a trainer and a trainee. So both are in affairs, but the training has to be, sorry, I got in, okay. So the trainer and trainee were this, they were both were in affairs, and the trainee is not being trained as based, I mean, accordingly to comparatively to the other peer members, because I mean here each and every work assigned to the particular trainee is being done by the trainer, which is creating a negative environment in the like particular process. So here you should make sure, like this is here affecting, you may say this is not affecting the production because the trainee's work is already been done by trainer, but no, this is not ethical. It is trainer's work, it is trainee's work, trainee has to do it. So now, for example, if I'm a trainee and there's one of my trainer who used to teach me, we both in affairs, and I don't do my work, he do all my works over here, this is also affecting, like see, for example, if we're having a my shift is 9.5 hours, the trainer shift is also some 9.5 hours. So if my work has been done by him, he need to extend it. Now the company has to pay him overtime. Even for me, as it is my work, I also will be available over there. Then that is also been, even for me also, the company is unnecessarily paying me overtime because I'm not even working. So here it's HR's responsibility to make sure to understand all such stuff and then take a necessary action. Okay, the other thing is, of course, the confidentiality, because it is very sensitive issue as it involves the personal life of two people. So please make sure the confidentiality to be highly maintained in this case. Okay, now we'll go ahead with another topic, which is absence or poor attendance. So first thing is educating the employees about the company's attendance policies. That has to be there. Every manager should be aware of the attendance policies. Every subordinate should be provided the policies of the organization in the induction itself. You may include this as an slide in your induction about the attendance policies. Also, after going into a process, the manager's responsibility to make him understand about the attendance policies. Also, it should be available in the organization portal. Also, you may add this on a quarterly basis. You can circulate an email to all the employees on the policies. If there's any changes in the policies, you may just, or if even if there's no changes, you may send this to all the employees, so that the employees will be aware of the policy, the rules and regulations of the organization based on the attendance. Because some are like constantly in habit of coming late, some are taking off, or if there's some incidents, there's a mass bunk will be there. Just like in college, you can see the freshers comes out and they just do a mass bunk because of some movies or something like that. So everything, like, one need to go through the records and figure out to how the reason, I mean, to figure out how reasonable it is to counsel those employees. Now, if somebody has taken, you just like that again can't go and tell him you have taken such and such leaves, I'm firing you. No, that's not possible. You need to understand the reason first, why it has happened, and then you need to counsel it. Everywhere, the first important thing, once you get to understand any complaint from the employees, you make sure you counsel them in return, instead of telling him, okay, you will be fired. Okay. And then the next thing is flexibility. So every organization should have should provide a flexibility, I believe. So flexibility, I mean to say here is, if somebody is taking an emergency, medical emergency off, or somebody may take an parents teachers meet off, so that's all, like, it's okay, you should allow all such things, because only the free environment then will give a like healthy, smooth running of the business. And also, only when the employees are happy, they will work more efficiently. So now coming to the third point, assessment. So assessment, how can we do? So warning regarding the consequences of the poor attendance and the reasonable assessment of the situation, like given an employee a chance to defend. If I got complaint, as I already said, first you understand why he has done this, give him a chance to defend, and then you also you can also ask him, you can also give him a warning. If you found out this is like second time, or you got a complaint from his managers, you can verbally warn the employee at the first instance, and then we can take up the next any next process. So like warning them, and then even if it's not listening, and then we can take a necessary steps based on the organization policy, which should be mentioned in the policies in the organization's portal. And again, the confidentiality. So any such scenarios, if you come across, like anybody is complaining, any managers is complaining about his subordinates is having a poor attendance or something, make sure you call him individually and have a one-to-one meeting with the employee, instead of shouting, or instead of having a discussion in the public forum about a single particular person. Now the next important is poor performance. This is the appraisal time right now, so most hottest topic to discuss, I would say. So yeah, first thing is about the poor performance, you need to, for expectation settings. So an expectation to be set, like communication of the organization's performance standards of through the employee should be aware what is expected out of him. So until and unless he's not been aware, what will he do? And KRA should be given to him to make sure he follows that, so that we can assess him based on that. And then the continuous feedback, like you may have monthly one-on-one meeting, skip meeting with the particular group of a particular set of employees, like fresher level or the managerial level or the tier level, and one-to-one, of course. And then the documentation of the poor performance, followed by the counseling and remedial measures before punishing. So we need to help the employee to success here, instead of just telling you are not performing well, you've been fired. So this is not the way an HR should talk. It is like if you got to understand from somebody that he is not performing well or he is a poor performer, then it's your responsibility to first counsel him, to make him understand, first understand from him that, okay, what is your issue, why are you not understanding it, is there any personal concern, is he going through any emotional disturbance. So as an HR manager, you need to understand his reason, let him tell the reason. Once you understand the reason, if you can able to help him by just talking to him, do that. If possible, provide him a training. If he is poor in particular application or particular set of things, you may set up a training for the particular, so that he can able to, he will be happy that, okay, organization is taking care of him. He will also happy that he is learning something new. If he doesn't know that, instead of just firing him that, boys, you don't know this, I'll fire you, instead of just that, you can train him, you can provide him a proper training, you can provide him a proper counseling, you can get an assessment, you can take an assessment on that, like regular feedback should be taken from his manager, from his peer members, so that you always try the employee to improve his by his own, instead of just leaving him or demotivating him. So this is what the major rule in the HR book, I would say. Okay, so yeah, now let's go to a next level. Next point is insubordination. Insubordination is like misbehaving with the subordinates. So when I say misbehaving with the subordinates, we will let's see a proper meaning for the insubordination. That is when an employee refuses to obey or a direct order from his supervisor, and sometimes challenge the directors to run the company. Like for example, the manager say do something and the employee says he will not do that. So this is actually the insubordinations. Then the instances are like this also occurs when an employee is verbally abusive to his manager. He uses bad words. If some of the manager is saying something and in return the employee is abusive to him, this is the example, I could say. In which scenarios all this can be accepted? So for example, if an employee say you are giving some work to the employee and an employee is denying it, so which scenario it should be acceptable? If there's something illegal activity involved in that, or else if something which is making the employee into danger. So this can be only in this two scenario it is acceptable, otherwise this is not acceptable. Misbehaving with a subordinate is totally unfair. You need to make sure you speak to the employee and you provide him a proper counseling on that. So now, how do we manage those insubordinations? First thing, if you got a complaint from his manager that the particular employee is not obeying or not doing whatever task is been given to him, or denying to do any task, then first thing is have a conversation with the employee. Do understand. If you also feel that yes, there is something wrong with the employee, then you make sure, first thing is you make sure you get this in written. If somebody is coming and complaining you, ask the manager, please give this in writing to me. And then with that, you also ask him the proof. So for example, if a manager comes and complains you, he also drafts an email, says so and so person is not listening whatever I'm telling to him, so I don't feel comfortable working with him, you may move him to the different process, or I don't want to keep him in process. You just like that cannot go with this email. You in return, instead of asking the particular employee to come and meet you, you respond to the particular manager, please provide me a proof or evidence. How should I believe that this person is not obeying you? So make sure also you may have in a skip meeting, whenever you have a skip meeting with a managerial level, make sure you discuss all such points. If somebody is not behaving, in a first instance, the manager has to write an email to the employee asking so and so reason why does he is not obeying. So at least 2 emails should gone from the manager to the employee. So this is what the proof I was talking about. So the manager has to provide you the proof that he has been already discussed about this to the employee. He has already warned to the employee. He has already warned the employee that he's not listening to me, and then only he has come to HR. So now we got the evidence. He has written you an email. Now the seriousness of the issue should be considered, if the employee need to be punished or not. So some managers is like, they may tell you something like, I have told him to do this, and that is something more than whatever his KRA is. Then this is not something the employee's fault. This is the manager's fault. So you need to understand how serious the topic is. Is that really worth? Is that really affecting the production? Is that really an case of insubordination? You have to make sure you clearly understand this. You understand the scenario, you discuss with the particular employee, you discuss with the manager, have a tripartite discussion if required, because just you talk to the manager once, you talk to the employer once. Both say different scenarios. Whom should you believe? So first have a one-to-one with the manager, then one-to-one with the employee, and then schedule a tripartite discussion with the three parties involved, so that to take a concrete solution on that, or concrete, so that you will get a concrete evidence and also the concrete proof, so that what has to be done next. And then of course the confidentiality. If you got a complaint from anybody and you let his peer members know about him, then that will create again the negative impact in the particular process. So make sure you take care on the confidentiality part as well. Now the next part is workplace bullying. Workplace bullying is very vast chapter, I could say. So you have to be very cautious while while going through such scenarios, or if you come across such scenarios, please make sure you handle it with care. So then first thing is, workplace bullying is a form of harassment that result in the employees experience mental distress or physical illness or loss of productivity and a higher prosperity to quit to avoid the toxic workplace. So if a person feels like, I want to quit this job just because of us, then that has to be taken care by the HR. If employee feels stressed because of the behaviors of his managers, peers, then that is called as a workplace bullying. So bullying may be in terms of abusive, insulting behavior, threatening. They may feel upset, pulls that is something pulls the employee's self-confidence down. This is also there is also one instant in this bullying I could add on is language bullying. This is very sensitive as well, I could say. This is happening all across the world. So language bullying is, if you are, for example, you are in Africa, and the organization in Africa, if somebody go from the America, then there's a difference in white people and black people. That should not happen. The discrimination, people start bullying about the color of the people. You come to South India, there's a company in South India, people come from North India, and they don't understand the language here. So now if you, for example, a gang of peers, a group of peers is there, in that one is South Indian, rest 4 is North Indian, or vice versa. So you should also make sure you are not hurting that odd out person. First thing, do not make him feel he's an odd out while talking in your own regional language. Make sure English, like, which is in general common language, has to be used, which should be understandable to all the employees. This is like very sensitive. When you, when I talk about this language bullying, I have come across lots of cases where people just want to leave the organization because they don't understand the particular city's language. He feels like, I got a case where like an employer is coming and telling to me, see, I'm not understanding this particular language and they don't understand what I talk. Whenever they laugh in a group, I feel like they're insulting me or they're commenting on me, but I'm not sure whether they're really commenting me, whether they're really judging me. But I feel so just because I'm not understanding the language. So just because of this, I want to quit. So this is like very bad to know also if people are doing like this. So make sure this has to be made. If you come across such cases, what do you need to do? First thing, counsel the peer, instead of that particular employee, counsel the peer members to make them understand he is not somebody odd and out, he is also part of the team, and make sure they coordinate among themselves and talk in a common language which can be understandable by each and everybody there. Next thing is, he may also provide, if for example, if organization is in Andhra, they can teach them, they can have an local language training. If a organization in Tamil Nadu, they can have an local like Tamil training classes as well, so that after the working hours, the particular employee may learn that. This also like improve your knowledge in that, and this also helps you to coordinate with your peer members very well. So this is the best thing. You can also do it in your own organization. Now, like, there are lots of workplace bullying types. So gossiping about someone, yelling at the subordinates, purposefully exclusion of the particular project or meeting, giving credit to others of the targeted employee, constant criticism of by the boss, personal comments. So all these are the types of the workplace bullying. Now, how you can manage those workplace bullying? The first thing which I told about the language bullying, like you may introduce something like training of a local language so that people can also learn different languages. And also, if something is something goes beyond the level, you may change the process of the particular employee. You may have a performance reviews. These all things you can do. Like first thing, get a detailed documentation about the issue, consider talking to the bully. The main important thing is, if somebody is being bullied, you have, as an HR manager, it's your responsibility to give him a comfort that no, he is not somebody from the outside, he is the part of the organization, and the organization care for each and every employees of his organization. So this has to be taken care. And the most important thing, you have to act quickly. You never know how it has been affected in his mind. So you never know what he can do next. So make sure you act quickly as soon as you get a complaint from anybody on this workplace bullying. So yeah, this all are the people, we call it as in difficult people are involved in this in the organization. So now let us move on to the tips. How can we handle those difficult employees with an example? If you guys have any queries or anything, you may please write it on the chat box. I'll go through that and try to answer it as soon as possible and as many as possible. So yeah, moving on to the next topic, tips to handle the difficult employees with an example. So first thing is, if a difficult employee is not managed properly, that will create a toxic work environment, which will demotivate the other employees and also the performance of the particular employee as well, and which will lead to the performance of the particular team. So first main important thing is, if you are getting any complaints or if you are getting any issues from anybody in the organization, make sure you respond to the complaint immediately. Do not ignore any complaint, whether it is from the manager, whether it is from the TL, or whether it is from any fresher who joined just yesterday. Make sure you respond to the complaint. And the second thing is, document it. Documents the issue. So for example, if somebody is complaining you, rather than you documenting it, you may ask the particular person, so please drop me an email on this. It's always good to have a written complaint from the employees, so that to have this consideration in future. Now, the confidentiality should be maintained. As I was mentioning it from the first, confidentiality is very, very, very important. You have to make sure whatever has been discussed, whatever the issues is, whatever the action is to be taken, highly confidentiality should be maintained on that. And then address the employee directly. If a manager is having a complaint, he is coming up with a complaint of a particular employee, just do not talk to him or give him a solution. Rather than just responding to the particular manager, you make sure you talk to the employee who is been for who on whose the complaint is been raised. Talk to him directly to understand from his part as well. Do not only consider the one party. Make sure you connect personally with the both the parties involved in the situation or in the complaint. Let us see with a live example what you have to do. So in a how you when you get an query, when you get an complaint, when you get an issue, how you have to do. First is start with the process. So now we have got an issue, we got the employee to meet us, schedule a one-to-one meeting with the employee, and then start it with a positive note. So like positive note will always give you like it's to begin a conversation is very important with a positive note, because it will motivate the employee to improve him better. So you may start it like you're a very skilled developer and your technical contribution to the project are valued. So it's always, I mean, the employee will always feel happy, they always feel motivated. Okay, they know what I'm doing, they know my skill, I am so skilled. So this will give you a personal touch as well and a positive start as well. So it's always good to have a positive start with the employee. Then come to the next process. You have to make sure you focus on his performance. So the area you might tell him like the area you need improvement are communications and the teamwork. It is important to coordinate with your team so that the project work more smoothly. So make sure you tell him, okay boss, this is the area you are not good into, so you need to make sure you correct that. So when you're providing a negative feedback, now you have started with a positive note, but now you're providing a negative feedback to a difficult employee. He's already a difficult employee. It's important to focus on the performance and not on the personality. Do not talk anything about his personality. Talk about only the performances. Okay, so this will also lead to the positive response and there is a chance of change to this. Now moving to the third thing is be direct. So whatever you're saying, just tell him directly. Like example, I had a complaint about your unwillingness to work as a team and this is a serious issue, but I want to let you know that you are a valued member of the team and I will work with you to find a solution. Like you have to be firm and clear to the difficult employees that there is a problem, but there is also a solution and we are there to help you in this solution. So this has to be very clearly, very politely being discussed with the difficult employee. So now you told him that this is the issue we have been getting. Now you have to counsel them. You just can't tell them this is the issue, I'll fire you, I'll terminate you. No, that is not the way. You need to counsel them. So you may tell them, right, you're really smart and it would be great if you could eventually mentor the junior developers, but I think you should start by putting yourself in the others people's shoe, and everyone has your own, I mean, everyone may not have your experience level. So if a team member does not have a particular skills, you suggest the resources for them to learn that skills. So if an employee is open to coaching, then you have an opportunity there to provide him training via online training or textbook training, or counsel them along with the interval feedback sessions. So you may provide them a feedback. First, make him understand you can do this better. Maybe you can provide a training to your juniors, but you have to make sure everybody is not as trained as you, or everybody doesn't know as much as you know. So when you say this, he may also feel, okay, I should learn something new. So you are giving him an opportunity, and when he's accepting it, now you have to make sure like, okay, you got an opportunity, you can train him. So you can make sure you provide him a training, or you provide him some online or some councils. You make sure you have some council committee. It's not only one person. If they treat you as an HR, if you itself provide and train counsel to them, they may not take it into consideration. But I would suggest personally, have a council committee in your organization. Like take a people from different processes. Make sure if somebody is he is from a different process, make him to counsel with the other person who is not into his own team but to a different team at a senior level. So that will give a different impact, and he will understand. That will also giving him a chance of networking with the different employees. That is also involving a chance of make sure any chance of him to moving to a different process, or he is getting lots of opportunities there. So you are anyway giving an open opportunity to the difficult employee instead of just firing him away from the organization. So what actions needs to be taken? So if in case you have counsel, everything is done, how it has to be done? If you found no, that is something to the next level, or there's something very serious, then make sure you first give him a verbal warning. And if he repeats the same, you also make sure you provide him a so-called notice to him, get in writing from him what is the reason, or I'll give him a chance to defend in writing. And even if we accept that, then of course you can give him a written warning letter and then give him a time for a week. In meanwhile, you can counsel him, you can assist him, and even if nothing is coming, I mean, he is not improving, or he still behaves the same way, then at the end, you can terminate or you can fire the employee based on the company's policies. Okay. So yeah, thank you so much, guys. Hope you had a nice session and more informative session. I'm open for question answers. Please shoot on your questions in a chat box. Thank you, Narmada. Sure, post the sessions. The team may share the PPTs. Thank you so much. Thank you, Shiv Sharma. I'm glad you all find it so informative. Thank you, Neha. Yeah, so there is a question from Chandra Babu. Hi, ma'am. Can we put this as a policy in our employee handbook? Of course, like once you given, you can add the policies with discussion with your organization's hierarchical managers and put it in a handbook so that it is easily understandable and it is handy as well. Then what is Santosh Joseph, what is the best way to understand if employee will be obedient before hiring? Very interesting question, Santosh. So yeah, it's very important. This is the task of the recruitment team. I could say it's very, very important that you should understand if the employee is obedient or not. How can you do that? Very interesting question. You may check if he's punctual. You may check the way he talks, his attitude, the way he answers. So all this, you make sure you give him assess. You can assess him based on the live scenarios. That how do he react in such scenarios, to understand his behavior, to understand his mindset. So instead of just shooting out a question technically to him, or just shooting out a question about his family and everything, you may actually give him a scenario and then assess him, then observe him, how does he respond. That will give you like if he's fit in your organization or not. There's lots of questions. Sorry guys if I missed something. Okay, the next question is okay, so there's a very good question from Prem. Let's take a hypothetical situation. I have an employee who takes weed out of office hours but does not disturb the other employees or does not affect his performance. Should HR take any action if they come to know about it? Well, as you have mentioned, that he is taking a weed out of the office hours. He's not taking instead of. So as an HR professional, you have no rights to intervene into his personal life. But yes, as a human being, you can suggest him, you can advise him. But as an HR person, you cannot take any action against him because this is not affecting his production. He is not using it in the working hours. Then the next question is, thank you, Guru Nath's guidelines to growing HR. Thank you so much. Okay, next beautiful question is by Jitu. Thank you for this wonderful session. My question is how we can handle ego clash between employees and manager. Yes, the very common question I could say. Like I see this every day, the ego clash between the managers and employees. In such scenarios, you have to make sure you talk to them very clearly because this is quite sensitive as well. So if you get a complaint by the manager, this is based on the subordination which I was discussing. So if the manager is just telling you he is not working, then that is not the issue. But he's constantly telling you, but he's constantly complaining you that his performance is not good, then that is a problem. Likewise, if the employee is complaining you that his manager is not in his uh, like this manager is not training him well or not listening to him or not he is not reachable, then you should make sure you talk to the manager and tell him that your team members has one so complaints. Make sure you have one-to-one with everybody. Make sure you conduct an huddles every day. Make sure you conduct a skip level meeting on a quarterly basis. So this will solve that particular problem. Okay, the next question is, okay, this is very
It's a
interesting
straight
question again.
question to you.
Hello. So there's a question from Samita, I believe. How to handle if a team member is not following the hierarchy? Yeah, this is also important. So if a team member is not following the hierarchy, I'm a fresh analyst, I could say how the categories are analyst, senior analyst, then team leader. So being an analyst, I cannot directly go to my team leader. Being an normal senior analyst, I cannot directly go to my manager. There's a hierarchy. If that is not been maintained, then there has always been disruption in the team, and you make sure this should not happen. So in detail. So for example, if somebody is joining the organization, in the induction itself, we have to make sure you clearly inform them about the hierarchy of the organization. You make sure once they go into the team, by his team, he should know whom he has to reach the first level, then the second level. And if you found some complaint that he has not followed the hierarchy, make sure you discuss with the employee why the hierarchy is not been followed. There may be a scenario that his next subordinate, immediate subordinate, couldn't have answered him or his was not addressing him properly. That's the reason who would have escalated it to the next level. But yes, if there is no such scenario, you first counsel the employee that the hierarchy should be maintained. But yes, if the immediate subordinate has not been answered properly to him or he has not been addressed reachable, then you need to counsel the particular manager to make sure they help the employees to maintain the hierarchy in the organization. Okay, so hope I answered the question. So we are running short of time. It's almost time now. Any last question I can take it? So the host is, do we have a time now? Is it done?
Yes, we have.
Okay, fine. Okay, the next question is from Samriddhi. Okay, hi Samriddhi. Is it beneficial for the company to invest in training employees regarding acceptable behavior inside the office premises? Of course, it is important. It is beneficial. If you provide them a training on the behavior aspect, that is going to help the organization. That is going to help the smooth running of the organization, the smooth environment in the organization. So this is always benefited to provide a training to the difficult employees on the behavior aspect. So you may have the communication training, you may have the emotional intelligence training. So apart from the of course the technical training is required, but apart from the technical training, you may also have such behavior aspect training which actually benefit your organization only. Okay, so next question is,
From Sandra, how to handle employees who are working in senior level and are working with organization for long term. I mean, if I'm getting this question right, then you mean to say if there are employees who is serving like more than 5 years or 6 years in an organization, they will get some ego issues or some. I mean, I'm sorry, but I'm not getting it. As per my understanding, it's like maybe they are more experienced ones. So it's all. I mean, is that so? The question is. Okay, I can answer it in this way. So if you have an employees who has an experience of more than 10 years, 11 years, and suddenly a new manager joins in the particular team who he is reporting to. He is a new to the particular team. So now there is a chances of clashes between both of them, and you may get a complaint on this, and that is also been creating an intoxic environment. So what you have to do here is, first thing is to make a bonding between them. You make sure you give an example while you introduce the superior manager to the particular 10 years experience employee. While introducing them, you tell him you tell quite good things about him, how he can help him in so many ways. He being a senior manager, he is not aware of the policies, but his manager is aware of most of the policies and aware of the issues how to handle. So obviously he can get help from him to run the team smoothly. Instead of arguing on the stuffs, you make sure the particular experienced guy whomsoever is the team, so he can able to help him in lots of ways which he may not aware of. So yeah, I would suggest it's always make sure you connect them, you have some team building activities, or you have some kind of brainstorming sessions between both of us, so that will help to run the process smoothly. Okay, so yeah, there's another question from Ratish. How can we collect a proof for insubordination since he or she is very good at iron found of us HR? That he may be good for iron, but proof, if you can say, for insubordination is like if a manager is complaining about him. So the proof, as I already mentioned while taking you through the slides, you have to make sure you get the complaint in written. Once you get a complaint in written, ask for an evidence. The manager should have been warned the particular employee. I'll tell you a scenario. Like if my team member is not performing well, he come the man. So if a particular manager's team member is not performing well, he is coming and complaining to HR, so and so person is not up to the mark and he is not performing well, but we can see he is not listening to me, or but we can see his performance is very good. Then what we need to do is we need to ask him, did you return any email to him? Do you, can you show me something where he has not listened to you, or something like that? If he has any evidence, then of course you may go through that evidence. If there's no evidence, you no need to action on that. Ask the manager, if see I cannot take this question, right, I cannot take this complaint as I don't find any evidence against this. Next time if he behaves like this, or next time if you found any insubordination due to the employee, please make sure you give him in return and you give him a warning in return, and then you can take that to us. I can take a necessary action later on. Okay, so yeah, it's time now. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much for the wonderful feedback, guys.
All right. So I think no questions left, right?
No. So I hope I have clarified. I mean, done all the. Sorry if I missed out something. So yeah, you may connect with me in LinkedIn for anything, so that we can clarify later on. But as far as I can see, I would try as much as possible to to finish off the answer the queries. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So thank you so much, Priya Payal, because it was really a wonderful session. You gave brilliant insight of the topic, and the Best of HR Forum is really happy to have you here. and it's our pleasure to have you here. So thank you, Priya. And on behalf of all the HR forum, best of HR forum people, I thank all the participants as well who took take time to participate in this webinar. So thank you all. So see you soon in the next webinar. Thank you so much.
Thank you.